Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Clangin and Bangin with Mikey, episode 226. And first things first, happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. Happy Mother's Day to the mothers who are celebrating with their children. Happy Mother's Day to the mothers who can't celebrate with their children for whatever reasons, whether it's a plethora of different reasons. Happy Mother's Day to the mothers who want to be mothers but they can't be mothers. Happy Mother's Day to y'all too. On that note, I'm gonna start off with this. Make the effort. Make the girl who always is overthinking, always is insecure, show her that she's worth it. You know? It doesn't have to be a fancy dinner. It doesn't have to be, X, Y, and Z, flowers or the whole nine. But it's like, just make sure that she's worth it. Make sure that she knows she's worth it. Go out of your way to do X, Y, and Z. Go pick some flowers, Buy some flowers from the store, Understand that you have to make the effort. If you want to be seen, you have to make the effort. And I think that's what a lot of people stop doing when they get the girl. They stop dating how they got the girl. And it's sad because I had a conversation with a homegirl of mine from my college days. And she was telling me all this stuff about her other half and everything like that too. And I said, okay. And then she's like, well, I don't know why, I don't know how you guys come to the same answers, this and this and that. And I said, well, because it's like, we're here to listen, but we're also here to give you a reality check too. Because by you staying in the situation that you're in, it just doesn't suit you. All you ever talk about is all the shit that he doesn't do. Then you have the nerve to say that, oh yeah, but it's not, he does good things too. And I'm like, then why are you always talking about the bad things? Why are you always harping on what he doesn't do? You're harping on X, Y, and Z, and it's like, okay, cool. But you can't sit there and say, well, like, he's not all bad, but all you do is talk about how bad he is. Like, that doesn't make any sense. How can you say he's not all bad, but all you do is talk about all this shit he doesn't do? And I think a lot of people, man, and she said something to me that was very, very eye-opening. And she said, well, I know at the very end he wants the same thing I want. And I asked her, well, how do you know that? Do you guys even talk about what you want? Just don't assume that he wants the same thing you want. He could just want somebody to mother him, which is bad. Because no grown man should have his girl doing, X, Y, and Z for him. And but it's true, because if a man gives a woman a house, she makes it a home. We give you ingredients to cook a meal. You give us a home cooked meal. We have sex with you, you produce babies. Like, we show you our soft-spoken side. You shower us with love, and vice versa. But at the same time, it's like, and I told her point blank, it's like, yo, it's like, you have to realize that you're over benefiting the situation. Like, it's one thing to sit there and be like, if it was 50-50, but it's not. Um, and I said, you know what? I said, hey, like, do you hear yourself when you talk? You know, do you understand what you're doing? Understand what you're saying, and understand that uh, that is definitely something that should be that should be not overlooked. Because if you overlook it, that means it's like you're actually doing yourself a disservice too. And she's like, "What?" It's like, "Yeah, like don't overlook certain things. Like don't think that they don't matter because they do. Um, because if you don't think that they don't matter, then you're sadly mistaken because they do." And I said, the number one thing you don't want to do is like you don't want to sit there and you don't want to sit there and be like, "Oh yeah, X, Y, and Z, boom, 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 yada, 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 whoop de whoop," because I say you end up wasting time. You know, and there's several people that I know that end up in relationships that aren't good for them, that are horrible for them, that make them think that they're unlovable, and they're not. You just chose wrong. Like you just chose the wrong person, and then you double that down, and you know, had kids by him. Then you double that down, and you stayed with that, and that slowly eroded you for who you are. You know, that slowly eroded you for finding your true self. And a lot of the times, women will do that, thinking, "Oh, well, if I stay, he'll change. If I do X, Y, and Z, he'll change. If I do X, Y, and Z with you, he'll see my worth." Nah, I'm gonna be real with you. They don't change. They don't see your worth. They just know one thing, that you ain't gonna leave. And it's like, at the end of the day, while it's sad because no relationship should ever come to that. Me myself, before I even get to that level of hating on somebody or having hatred for somebody, I'll just leave them alone. You know, I've been in plenty of situations where I'm like, you know what, like this ain't worth it. You know, like it's not. You're not meeting me halfway. If I have to over benefit the relationship to get what I want, then what's the point? Or it's like when, like, what's always hypocritical to me is like when women lie about shit and then they want to hold us to a standard. I'm like, but you can't even tell the truth yourself. Well, what are you talking about? And honestly, it's true. It's like, okay, like, you're gonna lie about what? Why would you lie about that? You know? Or like, I've never understood people who leave out parts of the story just to make them look good, and then you hear the whole story like, oh, it wasn't even that deep. You know? He's like, you could have just told me, and I would have been like, yeah, you're right, because we're not. You know? You know? It's like, I've had people have whole conversations about me, and it's like, it's other girls asking a girl that are, that, oh, are you and so an item, this and this and that, like, and they say no, and then I find out like from what she told me was completely different. I'm like, oh, so what you told me was only like a fraction of it. Like, you told me that you guys never had a conversation. Why is this other person telling me everything else, and everything else that they're telling me is lining up with what you said? Because I'm gonna tell you, because they're telling me the whole story. And it's sad, it's pathetic, but it's like, that's just who you are. And it's like, yo, if that's who you are, then that's fine. But please trust and believe that once you lie to somebody over something like that, I can never trust you again. You know. But getting back to this Sunday, man, Mother's Day, But some people it's hard, bro. You know, and just be there for people. You know, because I don't know what it's like to be a parent. I do know what it's like to lose a sibling. I don't know um, how it is as a parent to lose a child, you know, because your child is supposed to bury you, not you bury your child. And I think a lot of people take parenthood for granted, man. Um, you see a lot of people out there having kids, and they have no business having kids, and I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that it's like people love the title. They love the title father, but they don't know how to be a dad. A lot of people will be like, oh, well, X, Y, and Z, yada, 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 whoop de whoop. And I'm like, no. At the end of the day, it's more than just going to sports. It's more than just doing X, Y, and Z. You have to show your child, but you're, what? What type of pitfalls that they should avoid, you know? What type of people that they should avoid. Because, like, you're going to go outside and you're going to get influenced by the world. And when you get influenced by the world, that's when a lot of bad shit happens, you know? And it's not really anything you can do about it because the world is such a big, scary place, right? But you have to realize that you have to equip your child to be the best version of him or herself, you know? And I was having a conversation with somebody about gender roles. I'm like, excuse me. There are some aspects where gender roles is 100% true. Like a man can't teach a little girl how to be a woman, you know, or a woman can't teach a boy how to be a man. There's only certain things that, you know, certain genders can do, but I don't think gender roles should be restricted to the kitchen because it's like, oh, everybody should know how to do laundry, everybody should know how to cook a meal, everybody should know how to pay bills, everybody should know how to do X, Y, and Z. And I think a lot of people don't understand that. They think, oh, well, it's a woman's job to stay in the kitchen and wash the dishes. Like, no, bro, this ain't 1950, bro. You know? You know, it's a woman's job to, you know, to cook the meals and do the laundry. Like, no. No, it's not. You know? I think a lot of people don't understand that, man. And I was just talking to somebody last night. I asked them, like, oh, so what you got going on for Mother's Day? And they said, oh, you know, well, I'm going to cook the food that I want to eat. And I'm like, damn, nobody cooking it for you? Okay. That's a shame. You should change that. But I think it's also important that people realize that you have to be careful who you hitch your ride to. You know, you have to be careful with, you know, men and women. Not just women. You know, I'm not just talking to the women. I'm talking to the men and women. Because I've seen a lot of great dudes get fucked over by women who ain't shit. You know, I've seen a lot of women play victim in a situation, and it's like, okay, I've seen women try to play victim after they file for divorce, and while they're going through the divorce proceedings, they find out that their soon-to-be ex-husband is dating somebody else while they're separated. And like, yeah, why would he not date? You know, you don't want him anymore. So it was like, why would he? Why would he restrict himself from not dating? Just because you're going through a divorce proceeding doesn't mean you don't date. You know. So. But it's always interesting to me when women would do that, and it's like, for what, bro? How is that possibly any of your concern about what they're doing? And like, why do? And honestly, why do you care? I've always thought that was weird. Like, you don't want him, but yet you don't want him to move on. Like, you trying to make it seem like he broke some code or something, or whatever it is, or like, because it's bullshit, and everybody wants to talk about, oh, marriage is more than than a piece of paper, than a contract. Like, no, it's literally that. It's literally just that. It's like you can do all the religious shit, everything else that you want to put onto it, but that's literally what it is. You're signing a contract stating that you'll be loyal to one person. Through sickness, through health, through good or bad, to death do you part, whatever the whole nine, right? Those are the vows. But at the end of the day, it's like, you got to realize that people change. And sometimes people don't change for the better. They change for the worse. And once you figure that out, once you find that out, it's like, and it's not conducive to you mentally, spiritually, religiously, whatever it is. Then do what you have to do to move forward. Do what you have to do to, to make it understood. Understand that, like, oh, okay, cool. Like, hey, this was working for me back then. It's not working for me now. It's like the guy who hooks up with a bunch of girls, and then he finds that one girl, all right, and he's like, yo, like, okay, this is it. All these other girls don't matter. Because all he was doing was betting them. They were walking through his front door and walking out. He wasn't planning dates. He wasn't buying birthday cards. He wasn't doing anything like that. He may give you a little money from, for grab a coffee or whatever it is on your birthday, then yeah. But that's minor. Like, the intention wasn't there because the intention was just purely physical. And once you got that, it was a wrap. And once you understand that it's, you can't fight everybody's battles for themselves, right? It's like I was watching this clip from Sarah Fonte with you, and now she's on the Two Nights Conversation panel, right? And she was like, usually 95% of the time she's on point. Like this 5%, like this particular clip, it was just like, it was ridiculous, right? Because she just completely missed the mark. And she was talking about how women are emotional and men are logical. And she was talking about the emotions and everything too, like, well, men are supposed to regulate your emotions, this and this and that. And the brother on the panel was like, how are we supposed to regulate your emotions when it's your emotions? That sounds like manipulation, And she was like, well, like, like, maybe she feels a certain way because, like, you didn't say that you love her, like this and this and that. Like, Okay, but we've been through some shit. We, like we've been through 5, 6, 7, 8 seasons of each other, and I'm still here. And like, obviously, I'm worth something because you're still here. You know, like, how does that not tell you that I'm not in love with you? Now, granted, do you gotta say it every day? Depends. I mean, if you in somebody's text messages and you saying that I love you every day, then okay, like, calm down, you know. And if they ain't saying it back, I can understand why you feel that way. Well, it's never somebody else's job to help, And I check that. It's never somebody else's job to regulate your emotions. They can help you regulate your emotions. They can help you understand what you're feeling, but it's never their job to understand your emotions. Because men, and I swear to God, the older that we get, it makes sense. Like, we're so fucking logical. It's scary, you know. We're not built to be emotional creatures like that. We're built to this, like, yo, this is what we do. We solve problems. We solve problems. And it's like, at a certain point in time, you have to realize that, it's me in this situation. It's not him. It's not her. It's not him or her. It's me, and like what I want, and what I want isn't adding up to everything that I want. It goes back to my homegirl's conversation, right? When I said, like, how do you know that he wants the same thing? Just because he's been with you for so long doesn't mean that he wants the same thing. And plus, I said, yo, how do you know that everything that you want, he wants? Because if he wanted the same thing you wanted, he would have gave it to you. Most guys who want the girl, who keep dating the girl, want them to know that they want her. It's as simple as that. It's never about, oh, I did X, Y, and Z, boom, 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 boom. It's about showing up. It's about the little things. It's about remembering the details. It's about understanding that, it's like, this is what it is. You can't expect people to, to get used to this behaviors if you can't upkeep it. Which means if you're a fake motherfucker, then it's gonna show up. And a lot of people, they'll say all this shit in the beginning, do all this shit in the beginning, but it's like, like, if they can't show up for you, if they can't do X, Y, and Z for you, then why are you there? Why are you in a situation where you know you're not valued? Why are you in a situation where you know you're not respected? Like, make it make sense, bro. Like, how are you in a situation where you know that whatever you got going on isn't conducive to you? And all you ever do is complain to your friends or whatever it is, boom, 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 boom. And it's like, after a certain point in time, people get tired of hearing it. And they slowly start tuning you out, And it's like, and with men, it's different. Because I've been in situations where some of my partners are like, bruh, you need to let this go, dog. And same thing with me. I'll be telling niggas the same thing. Like, bro, like, how much longer can you keep up with this bullshit? Keep up with the bullshit that she's giving you before you get tired of it? Understand that it's not okay to be in conflict all the goddamn time. It's like, and I hate to bring up race, but as black men, majority of my friends, they're all black for the most part. we go out to our prospective professions every day, Monday through Friday, and we battle the world. Baby, we ain't trying to come and battle your finance too. We trying to grab your booty and help you cook dinner. We trying to do X, Y, and Z with you. We trying to cut up on the couch with you and watch Netflix. We ain't trying to go out there and fight the world and fight my girl too. Nah, we ain't trying to do all that. But yeah, anyway, y'all, this is 25 minutes of your life that y'all won't get back. Hope y'all keeping it 4 P's. Private player, positive pushing. I'll see y'all next week. I love y'all. Yo, like I said in the beginning, happy Mother's Day to everybody out there. Kiss your mother, hug your mother. Go make her day special, all right? All right, y'all. Peace.